All right. Um, Hi everyone. We are just waiting for a few more people to join if they want to in the next minute here. And then we'll get going.
Pam, how was your morning, my moderator today?
My morning has been fantastic actually. Thank you for
You're so-
asking. How's your morning going?
My morning's been so good. Thank you for asking.
Of course. Okay. Let's see. Looks like we've got say we got six people. There's a few more coming. Yeah. All right. Pretty good
Good.
so far. All right. All right. Well, we're gonna get started here. So I just want to thank everyone for joining today. Today's webinar is on the business of belonging, building loyalty in a lonely world. My name is Cam Weist. I'm the digital marketing specialist with Kinetic Marketing and Creative. And I'm really excited to introduce today's presenter, Katryna Eastwood, who is the director of Kinetic's small business division, Kinetic Greenhouse. And Katryna, despite her youthful appearance, brings years of marketing experience, including time at Disney. She also brings a hands-on approach to helping small businesses grow and a people-centric perspective on marketing and customer relationships. When she's not running Kinetic Greenhouse, she spends her time as an adjunct professor at Grand Canyon University teaching advertising, helping care for her parents' horses, and
Mm.
adopting dogs for a day. Isn't that amazing?
Cam! I can't believe you said that. That's crazy. And it's
Yeah,
true. It's absolutely true.
yeah. So today she'll just look at how the growing need for connection is changing customer expectations and how businesses can use both online and in-person experiences to create stronger relationships and lasting loyalty. So as we go through this webinar today, feel free to drop any questions that you have into the chat, and we'll save some time at the end to get to as many of those as we can. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Katryna.
Cam, thank you so much. For those of you who are clients of Kinetic Greenhouse, I'm sure you have seen Cam's face and email name around. He is our go-to digital guy. So it's fun that for this webinar, I get to have a moderator who is a guy that I work with on the regular. And it just makes it a little bit more fun for me. So, Cam, I'm happy you're here too. So we're going to
Great.
talk about the business of belonging. Before we get started, I'll say a little bit more about myself because the goal of this is to get to know your clients. So you get to know me for a little bit. So as Cam already said, my name is Katryna. I will skip all the fun career things that I've done, but a little bit about myself personally. I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I spent some time in Seattle and LA. So I'm super happy to be back in Arizona. Definitely, it's starting to feel like home again. And some of my favorite things to do is I feel like I've become a very like quintessential Scottsdale family. A lot of my cousins from different parts of the country have moved here, and we are frequently at breweries sitting outside. We are at spring training games, which you can see below. We have my cousin Cameron on the left and then my cousin Jacob on the right. There's a few of my many cousins out here. And we have Cameron roots for the Giants, Jacob roots for the A's, I root for the Mariners, but we have like a family truce that like when we all come together, we can root for the Diamondbacks. Except in this occasion, I am at a Mariners game, so it was my team. And then on the top picture, we have this sweet little girl. Her name is Malaya. I volunteer with a couple youth organizations, and one of my favorite is Big Brothers Big Sisters. And Malaya was my little sister when I was in Seattle. We still FaceTime and keep in touch, and she actually started fourth grade this week. So, little bit about me. I love Pilates. I love working out. I love working with Cam. And today we are going to just talk about a bunch of things about how to connect with businesses, how to make client relationships that are memorable. And one thing particular about, oh my goodness, one thing particular, hello, Cam, digital man, my webinar's not working. There we go.
There it goes.
Okay. Today, we're talking in particular about the loneliness shift and how that has created a really high value of human interaction when it comes to our clients. We're going to talk about the difference between automation and connection, talk about some brands that are doing it really well right now, and some small changes you can make in your business today for big impact. And at the end, we will have Q&As that you can type in. Cam, is it chat they can type into?
Yep, there's a chat feature, and you guys can just leave a question in there, and then we'll get to them at the end.
That sounds perfect. And Cam will take the awesome job of filtering the questions and giving them to me. So thank you, Cam. So, my goal for the next 30 minutes while we're together, I don't want to just talk at you. I've taken 100,000 webinars. You've taken 100,000 webinars. My goal is that you take away actionable items that you can implement in your business after we hang up today. So, I recommend you take out a piece of paper, a pencil, or a pen. If you want to be technologically focused and savvy, you could do your notes app on your phone or your iPad. There's also so many like things now, something called Notable that my mom uses. Big fan of whatever that is. So as we go through the webinar, you will see some prompts like this in a orangey yellow screen. You do not answer the questions in the chat. They're really made for yourself and your own business reflection. And so I would recommend you write down the question. If you already have the answer, write it down. If not, when we finish this webinar today, go back and work through the questions yourself. So we have an example question right here so you can see what these questions will look like. And I'm going to ask Cam, what is your perfect breakfast?
Oh, okay, put on the spot here. Well, my perfect breakfast is in my family with my two young kids, we are huge fans of breakfast. So every weekend we make big breakfasts of like waffles or pancakes and eggs and bacon and coffee and fruit. And they get super excited for that. And I love making all that food. So that's kind of my perfect breakfast, is just hanging out with my family with a ton of food on the table.
I love that. And I actually feel offended that I haven't been offered a seat at this family breakfast table. What?
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to live in Montana first. So,
Oh, okay. So when I change residencies
yeah.
one day,
Yeah,
maybe.
of course.
Yeah, okay. I'll be right between the kids.
Front and center. Yeah.
So that wasn't just a random question. We are actually going to jump into the loneliness epidemic, and this statistic is starting because we are eating alone more. So what does that mean? Sharing meals is strongly linked to well-being. There's amazing reports on the World Happiness Report and some awesome documentaries about how humans in general find happiness. It's with routine, it can be with predictability, it's community. You know, if you want to be in a village, you got to be the villager as well. But one of the biggest things that are affecting happiness and loneliness is how many meals we share together. And we are up about 17% since 2003 of every US adult that ate every meal in the day by themselves. So that could even mean you're drinking a protein shake on the way to the gym, maybe sneaking a quick granola bar in between meetings. If we're saying across the day, every single item of food you consumed, you did by yourself. And that's actually leading to our loneliness epidemic, which is kind of a very interesting correlation. So, how that's correlated is essentially just means throughout the day, we're socializing less. So, 10 years ago, 38% of Americans spent time socializing or communicating with others on an average day. Today, that number is closer to 30% and very rapidly declining. This is also for interaction in person, not just like a Zoom, as much as Cam and I love to work together. I'm in Arizona, he is in Montana. We're Zooming, or we're phone calling or we're texting. That doesn't necessarily count as the socializing that can produce the serotonin for happiness. So, over the past 2 decades, the amount of times that Americans spend with friends and family has drastically fallen. And we haven't just stopped needing this connection, we've just encountered less of it. Think about maybe a previous generation, your parents' generation, your grandparents' generation. They had bunko leagues, bowling leagues. They, were not able to get information as quickly. So maybe they're always going to a sports bar to watch the football game. Maybe there are mommy and me classes to connect with individuals who are in the same stage of life as you. Those opportunities have just become less and less because of our increase in technology. So you're probably thinking, Katryna, Cool information. I'll call up a friend and get dinner with them tonight. What does that have to do with my business? It means that local businesses and institutions and gathering spaces are now part of our social infrastructure. Because we are socializing less and less every single day, the 15 minutes you have with your client, the 2 minute interaction they have visiting your store could be the most in-person socialization that they get all day, sometimes even all week. So your clients, your customers, more than ever before, are desiring to be seen, known, and connected. So when connection becomes less common, the unique thing for your business is human connection, and then you become more valuable. So, what does this look like? Human interaction is scarce throughout businesses. I just gave the example we're going to a store. If I go to Target today, the which I will, I love Target, but the odds of me interacting with another employee is so much slimmer than it was 5 to 10 years ago. We have self-checkouts. We no longer are having people hand us carts like in old school grocery stores. We grab our baskets, we grab our things, we self-check out, and we get out. Maybe we get a hello and a goodbye at the door. If I'm having issues with an online order, I'm submitting a ticket, I'm using a chat box. If I maybe want dinner tonight and I decide I don't want to cook, I'm ordering from an app and maybe I don't even see my delivery driver because he's dropping the food off at the front door. We are now booking appointments online. Maybe I want to get my hair done or I want to get my nails done, or even I just need to go see the dentist. I'm most likely booking that appointment online through a system. So convenience is everywhere more than ever before. This rapidly changed during the COVID-19 pandemic. Even restaurants and stores that didn't previously offer online delivery, online pickup orders, most likely do because of that shift in our society where everything needed to be less human interaction. So, convenience is everywhere and human attention is not. The scarcity makes a thoughtful, personal interaction stand out way more than it ever did before. Previously, if I went to Target and someone was yapping my ear off in the checkout line, I would have been like, wow, there's another person I'm talking to. But now it's actually a very valuable moment to me to be able to hear how someone's doing, how their day is. And sometimes I like to ask why they work at Target. You never know, it could be a good story. 86% of consumers say human interaction remains important to their brand experience. This is especially specific if you work in a vulnerable field. What are vulnerable fields? I would say anything to do with healthcare, anything to do with money over $1,000. So it could be installing a new roof, buying a home, it could be accounting, CPAs, bookkeeping, anything where a client may come to you and be a little bit tight-chested about the conversation or the money that may be spent into it. They love, by they, I mean consumers, love convenience when everything is going right. But when they're confused, making a big decision, spending a significant amount of money, frustrated, emotional, or not even too sure what the next steps post this consultation introduction looks like, they are nervous to commit to you and they're nervous to use your services or to buy your product. They want to make sure that they're being well taken care of and this is worth their money, worth their time even as well. I'd also say other vulnerable fields, anything with care. So if you work in childcare, nonprofits with very sensitive topics around it, this is also very important as well. My best example of this is when I used to live in Seattle, there's a huge mall called University Village, and my mom came and visited me one like November time of year. And we all know Christmas parties come around, and you have your Christmas party, your spouse's Christmas party, maybe your friend's Christmas party if you're on the guest list. Maybe, your building complex or a local business, whatever, maybe, invited you to something. We're all networking out here. And so my mom was like, I have all of these events I need to go to, and I need outfits for them. So we spent hours in this University Village mall, walk in, try something on, and leave, whatever it may be. We couldn't find anything. Conveniently, we took a ferry down to Bainbridge Island, which is one of my favorite places in the world. And we stopped in this like random corner boutique and the woman said, like, what are you shopping for? What are things you like about your body? What are colors you feel the best in? How many events do you have to go to? What are the dress code for the events? And we ended up walking out with like practically a Christmas wardrobe. And think about how much we could have just bought a t-shirt and left. Maybe we found something we liked. But because that personal experience was involved, and it was an emotional thing, right? You want to look good for these events. You want to show yourself off. You want to be proud of the company you represent or the company that you're attending for all their events. She ended up having an amazing Christmas experience, and I would recommend that boutique to anyone who needed a bunch of different outfits for some cool events coming up. So, but just think about if a sales associate at one of those big stores would have done the same thing, they probably would have got the sale. So, when a client comes to you, we have our little box here for you to write this question down. What in their life could be going right, and what in their life could be going wrong? My example of this, if you're a real estate agent, someone could be coming to you absolutely elated about the stage of life that they're in. They're ready to buy their first home. They just got married and it's their first home that they're buying together. And like that is such a sweet, special moment. They have decided to expand their family and they need to go from a two-bedroom house to a four-bedroom house. They are retiring and they're really excited about retiring and they want to go from their big family home to a smaller home. Also, a real estate agent, though, you could be working with people who are going through very tough things in your life. We have to downsize because I lost my job. There has been a death in the family, and I have to sell this house that has a lot of memories for me in it. We're getting a divorce, and we both love this house, and we decided to sell it. So think about in those moments, where are your customers so excited to meet with you? And where are they a little bit more vulnerable? Those moments influence who customers choose again. 29% of consumers have stopped purchasing from a brand or going to a restaurant or something in person because they had a poor customer experience. 38% of shoppers are loyal to five or fewer brands compared to 22% in 2023. Because human interaction, interaction is so just limited. If I go to a restaurant and I know the food is good, I'm going to have a good time. I'm more likely to go there than to try something else and risk having a poor experience, especially if you're bringing other people there. So, the question I'm challenging you to ask is no longer, was the transaction easy? Is, did the experience give me a reason to come back? Did your customer experience make people feel remembered or processed? So while I'm saying all of this, on the other side of the coin, businesses are being encouraged more than ever before to automate, use technology to their advantage, which is not a bad thing, and also implement AI across their businesses to make things easier, to make things more efficient, to increase the amount of transactions you maybe can take in a day. There's a prediction in 2029, AI could resolve 80% of common customer service issues without human intervention. What does that look like? I pick up the phone and I'm calling, I'm saying, hey, my credit card was hacked. This did just happen to me. And I'm talking to an automated system. Press one if your credit card was hacked. Press two if it's lost, whatever it may be. And then there's an AI chatbot on the other end saying, gosh, bummer. Here's what we're going to do. No longer talking to someone in person. It's all going to be computer automated. This is also similar to if I'm making a return online, the odds of me speaking to someone is extremely small. It is, here's what I'm returning. Here's why. Great. Here's your print slip. Another example of this, I was recently attending a networking event and someone was speaking about their financial advisor. And they were working with a big box company and they said, I've been working with this guy for 10 years. I got an email that he left and I'm just like on to the next advisor. And think about how vulnerable that moment must be. This is someone that I trusted with my money and they're no longer there. And now I'm just passed on to the next person in the branch. Danger is when efficiency becomes the goal instead of the customer experience. The goal isn't to completely remove automation because we don't have 100,000 million bajillion hours in the day. It's to know when to automate and when to still keep that human experience really special, especially with your customers. So, the phrase, the takeaway, automate the task and not the relationship. What what does technology say about you before you ever do? I would encourage you to think through your customer journey workflow if you haven't before. Let's say I am a home service company and let's do roofing. I think roofing is a great example, especially because roofing can be a little vulnerable. I have a leaky roof and I need someone to come fix it because I'm scared my house is going to cave in. And you're a roofing company. If I pick up the phone, who do I talk to? Do I talk to someone who can get me a roofer? Do I talk to someone who's going to push me to another person? Is it an automated system that says, leave a voicemail and we'll get back to you? What does your scheduling system look like? And then what does that first interaction look like? What happens after that interaction? And then if I were to move forward with your services, how does my invoice come in, my reminder, my confirmation? Do you have a customer portal? Do you have a chat bot? If I need support, if I have questions, where do I go? Decide in your business, because it will be unique to your industry as well as how you manage your business. What part of this workflow and this interaction is where you can take the automation out and put that human interaction back in? Where is your customer the most uncertain? Is it when they very first meet with you? Is it after they meet with you? Maybe they're going to meet with a bunch of other people. Maybe they're going to test out the waters and see what works best for them. Where is your customer the most emotional? Is it after they start? If you're a nonprofit, it could be I can get them in the door pretty easily, but can I get them to stay? Can I get them to keep donating to me? Where are they making a big decision? And where could someone feel easily forgotten? Once they work with me once and I get what they need from them, when do they start to feel like they were just someone else? When do they start to feel like they were just a number? When they feel that way, you will not get a repeat customer. You will not get a referral. Make it personal without making it impossible to scale. The other catch to this as well, if you're like, Katryna, you really moved me in this webinar. And I now want to take every single phone call for myself. I want to do everything. I'm going to have every single person sit in my office. I'm going to offer them an espresso latte, a superior latte, and I am going to bake them cookies. That's not going to work. You have 150 clients. You're really going to sit down with every single one every single day and offer them that personal touch experience? Probably not. Automate the predictable and personalize what is meaningful. It doesn't necessarily mean giving more of your time, but it's making the time that you do have feel like it was personalized and meant for them. So, yellow box, orange box, depending what color you think this is. I kind of think it's yellow, but I think it could be orange. But maybe I have color issues. What is one small way I could make customers feel more noticed without creating more work for myself? Is it a handwritten thank you card? Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for meeting with me. Is it picking up the phone and saying, hey, I just want to check in. You mentioned your kids have a soccer game on Saturday. How'd it go? Did they win? I remember my parents had this car dealer. His name was Grady. I remember his name. And I was probably 10 years old when they very first bought a car from Grady. Every birthday up until I probably was 18, Grady sent me a handwritten card. And when I turned 16, guess who we got my first car from? Cam, take a guess.
Grady.
Points for Cam, points for Cam. Okay, who's doing this well? In a world of automation, AI, quick interactions, get in, get out. Who's doing this really well? First brand, Nespresso. Everything's always full circle. I was an English major. Thank you so much. Nespresso, which I do have. I was talked into buying one. This is not an ad for Nespresso, but I mean, if the CMO of Nespresso is here, Cam will give you my number. Um, Nespresso started to realize, hey, we're actually just like every other coffee pod service. So people just like kind of have their favorites. They don't really try anything else. They're not really super convinced to purchase our machines. Why are we better than all the other brands, the Keurigs, the Ninjas, the Coffee Mates? That might not be a coffee maker brand. That might just be creamer. Anyways, I don't know a lot of my coffee outside of Nespresso and my favorite coffee shops. But anyways, what they decided to do is launch these very unique boutique experiences. There's most likely one in a major city near you. And it took away, I can just order the same coffee I always order within 2 minutes. And I now can go into this boutique, big or small, they're all different sizes. I can make an espresso with their new flavors. I get someone to walk me through. Do you like light? Do you like dark? Do you want espresso? Do you want double? Do you want all the other things you can do? Regular coffee, decaf. We now have this collection. We now have this flavor. This is seasonal. And you're more likely to spend more money in this experience as well because personal attention discovery is now a small moment of luxury. So they said our product is coffee at home. The benefit is convenience, but we want people to feel like this isn't a convenience. They want them to feel very proud that we're drinking an espresso latte. Seems similar to me. I'm boasting them right now. The experience is the taste, the learning, and being guided through it. Now, when someone comes to my house and I say, "Do you want a latte?" They say yes, and I can guide them through my coffee options I have for them. Cam, is it a shock to you that I love having lots of coffee in my house for when people come over?
Yes, I'm very shocked.
Fair. I'm just kidding. The relationship is a reason to return. I could order my own Nespresso coffee pods in about 2 minutes. I, every quarter, go down. I usually bring a friend and I go to the Scottsdale Fashion Square, yes, mall, and I go in and I will drive about 15, 20 minutes just to do that and leave. Something that would have taken me 2 minutes, but because I like the experience so much. Also, our upcoming spending generation, our generation that's getting jobs and making adult money, Gen Z, their willingness to spend rises 68% when they have an in-person experience. That's something to really keep in mind if your target is the generation that's really vibrant in the workforce right now. So, your question from this, how do you make in-person interactions feel meaningful and not just transactional? Chewy is another great one. They turn customer service into care. So, Chewy, for those of you who don't know, is a pet subscription service. You can have different things, maybe your food, your toys, whatever it may be, comes in. When a pet passes away, Chewy has gone above and beyond and they will refund you your most recent box. They encourage you to donate the items to a local shelter. So it's at no cost to you because you got your money back. And they send flowers, they maybe send pet portraits and handwritten notes. Cam, I heard you had an experience from Chewy.
Yeah, I did. When our dog passed away last year, we actually got a handwritten note from Chewy, just sending condolences for the passing of our dog. So that was honestly very unexpected and a very nice touch. So, um, yeah, cool company.
Small interactions like this create repeat customers. 83.3% of Chewy's annual sales come from those auto ship customers. So they know, hey, they are on a subscription service. Let's make sure when they are ready to get their next pet, we are a no-brainer choice because we not only care about them as a customer, but we care about their pet as well. So, your question to write down from this one, what happens after the sale that can make a customer feel remembered? My last example we have is Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's is new to Arizona. Cam and I still haven't been. And I think I'm gonna go. I don't know when, but I'm gonna put some people in the Kia Soul beep beep and we're going down to Buc-ee's. And I've heard great things. But Buc-ee's has turned a gas station pit stop into an experience. You can get gas anywhere, but Buc-ee's has really leaned into their branding. These are all these pictures you see here too are from other people's accounts that Buc-ee's then reposted. So these are people are so loyal to a gas station brand that they are taking pictures and posting on their own social medias about it, which is crazy. You have a recognizable experience, something worth talking about. I'll be blowing up the work group chat when I go to Buc-ee's for the first time because I know I'm one of the few people in the kinetic atmosphere that have not been to a Buc-ee's, which is crazy. Again, I think I'm 25 minutes away from one now. It also has a sense of participation. Cam, I'm calling you out again. I heard you've never been to a Buc-ee's, but you feel participated in the brand.
That's true. My father-in-law gave my son a Bucky's stuffed animal doll that my son loves. So we're already integrated in the brand without having even been there. So
So he's a Bucky loyalist as well. They don't just make the stop convenient, they make it memorable. Memorable. So what part of your customer experience could be your thing? Here's my catch with this. I don't think that necessarily means you need a mascot. I don't think like I'm a hairstylist and we have like a scissor plush toy. Like I don't necessarily think you need that. But what is something that could become part of your experience that they say, "Hey, when I work with this person, I think of this experience." Maybe it's the way they answer the phone, the follow-up, the packaging, the welcome, a little extra that you do during meetings, the Nespresso lattes, the hand-baked cookies. You never know. What would make someone choose you even if you weren't the closest or cheapest option? This could be a tough question, especially if you're in a competitive field. There's a lot of you out there, a lot of real estate agents out there. I think Arizona has the most, but that's not a legit statistic. It's just a personal assumption from my own experiences. What would make them choose you? Why are you different? Small changes, big impact. I know we're coming close to time here, so I'm going to kind of get through these a little quicker so we have time for questions. Start smaller than you think. Sometimes it looks like remembering someone's name, walking them to the door when they leave, very old school, walk someone to their car, walk someone to the door, open the door for them. Checking in after a difficult appointment. Hey, I know we just talked about how your roof is caving in and it's going to cost a lot of money. That was a bummer. How are you feeling? Introducing two customers who should know each other. Writing one sentence in an email that sounds like an actual person and not just an AI robot saying, "Thanks for meeting with me. Here's your next steps." And taking an extra minute to explain what happens next. This is something at Kinetic Greenhouse Cam and I really try to do with our Kinetic Greenhouse customers is we speak in metaphors all the time to help explain the complexities of digital and traditional marketing. And recently we had a joke about that. Actually, by recently, yesterday, I said, "Cam, that was a new metaphor for us."
yeah.
Look for one moment you can make more human. Where can I acknowledge the person, not just the purchase? Where can I replace confusion with reassurance? What is a tiny moment someone wouldn't expect? Remember, you don't need to humanize everything. Choose the moments where being noticed matters the most. So this week, remove 1 point of friction. Make something easier. Add one human moment. Make someone feel noticed. Repeat it until that becomes part of your culture. And as much as I love community, I love my friends, I'm so lucky to have amazing people in my life who I can lean on, who challenge me, who encourage me. And I get to meet new awesome people every single day in my job. And it's the best thing about what I do. Myself, Cam, you across the screen, watching live or watching afterwards, thank you for joining. You can't make the world less lonely, but maybe your little corner of it can feel a little bit more human than it currently does. And now we have time for questions. Not a lot of time, but we have time.
Yeah, we do. So if anyone has a question they want to pop into the chat, we'll go over them. So I'll just give you guys like 30 seconds here. While we're waiting for maybe someone to add a question, I'll just lob one at you, Katrina. That was something I was
Yeah.
thinking about while you were talking. You know, I guess, how would you know if your customers are feeling connected to your business? Like what's a measurement of that, or like how do you get feedback on that?
That is such a great question. My first step would be to ask them to say, how was this experience? What am I doing well? What am I doing wrong? Especially if you have a client that's worked with you for a long time. People love to participate. It's like you think about if you go to a sporting game, right? Everyone loves to know the chants, to wave the flags, whatever it may be. People want to be involved in your business. They want to see you succeed and they want to see you grow as well. So being able to participate by saying, how did you feel after this? What worked for you? What didn't work for you? Hey, what do you think of this? Will allow you to start to see the gaps in your business and will also just increase your customer loyalty as well because they know that you really care about them.
Great. We do have another question from David. He's asking, is it worth doing customer research to find out what they want most from their experience, or should we assume we know?
David, that is such a great question. What I would say on that is absolutely do customer research. Know your audience, know what they're interested in. Keep yourself involved in that culture and that trends. By culture, I mean maybe I own a golf brand. And so I'm constantly seeing what golf tournaments are happening. What are people posting on social media? What seems to really be sticking? What's mattering? I think assumption can work if you know your audience extremely well, or you would say you fall within that demographic. That, I am a golfer and I have a business in the golf industry. Therefore, I know the audience extremely well. That consumer research could be a little bit less. But ask your actual customers, or there is amazing, incredible resources online that you can definitely utilize.
Okay, great. And then we have another question from Brittany. And she's asking, how do you fight the growing tide that people don't want connection because they like the ease of automation, i.e., Target drive up, online restaurant orders, etc.
I think don't know, people don't know the value of being seen until they are seen. Show your customers what they don't even think they need. That they need that moment of you are not just someone who is showing up every single day. You are not a number in my CRM system. You are someone I care about. I care about who you are, where you came from, and what we want to do. And also use that to your advantage to get to know people. I have some clients who don't really want me to know anything about them, but that is me taking care of them by saying, I know when we walk into this meeting, we're talking about business and then we are leaving, and that is me still seeing them and caring for them. So it doesn't have to be everyone's treated the same. My dad always says this quote from High School Musical 2, which was my favorite movie as a kid. We don't need to hold hands around the campfire, which was something Sharpay says, but it's true. Sometimes you don't need to treat every single person the same. You know, I might walk into a meeting with more of an empathetic hand and more interest in someone's life compared to someone who I know just wants business and wants to get out.
Okay, great. All right. Well, it looks like that is all the questions that we have. Just thanks so much, Katrina, and thanks to everyone who joined today, and for your great questions. We definitely hope you came away with a few ideas for creating more meaningful business. I'm sorry, meaningful connections with your customers, building loyalty in ways that feel authentic to your business specifically. So, and we'll be sending out this recording of the webinar by email today. So keep an eye out on your inbox. If you'd like to revisit anything Katrina covered today, content in the webinar slideshow, and feel free to share it with your team if you feel like this was valuable information for you and your business. And thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you at another webinar.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye bye.